hope the title of the episode isn't so brash, so hard, so unforgiving. I don't know. I hope it's not too eye-popping where you're just like, oh boy, another rant about modern gaming. Boo, boo, bee, boo. I understand. Because that can get really annoying. But this is kind of where we are. All those three things is related to what we're going to be talking about, and that's just the way modern gaming is. That's just the way it is. I'm not going to particularly rant about stuff. I'm just going to talk about some stuff that happened this week here. I will give my thoughts that may turn that way. I know I just said, oh, it's not going to be a rant. If a rant is needed, a rant will happen, but I'm going to try my best not to go that way, because this is not the time, nor this is the place. Obviously, it's on my own with Keith. By the way, welcome in. But I don't think this is the time to do it. I really don't want to, so I'm going to try my best not to. But some of the things we're talking about today, man, oh my goodness, I could. Just the way... Let's just get right into it. So while in just the week since last week's episode, I've been gone, and we've been talking about AI on, not just here, but on STPP when we had Druid on. We were talking about AI there just because of where he's a content creator and what he thought about AI making content compared to actual people making content. And that's a fair thing to talk about. You know, when is AI going to be too much? Where's the line? You know, where is the point of no return to where AI needs to be regulated? And this isn't the podcast to talk about AI stuff as a whole in terms of in general usage, you know, because AI can do so much in so many different areas of life. But I want to talk about how it's affecting video games. And right now, the biggest way it's affecting video games is its overall usage. Because this could affect the price of video game systems again. They're already too high. Xbox is hugely high right now. In more ways than one, let me just say. But the prices are already way too much. I heard throughout the week, and I found this couple articles here. This one from PC Gamer, that apparently RAM is being hoarded. RAM for computers, you know? How things work and process and go through computers and whatnot. Make it easier to multitask with a computer. Yeah. A lot of these things are being hoarded, and a lot of companies are not selling them for just regular people like you and me, for regular commercial use. Because big-time companies are selling them to AI companies. Or at least that's what I'm getting out of this. PC Gamer article is memory crisis and sky-high DRAM prices could run past 2028 as Samsung and SK Hynix opt to minimize the risk of oversupply. This is by Jeremy Laird. The two big memory makers want to stick with boom and avoid bust. These guys, Samsung and SK Hynix, are responsible for 70% of the DRAM market. One thing here in the article states that, to be clear, it's not that production of memory isn't increasing. It's that the increase in demand is scaling up even faster, while some key investments in production will take years to impact the supply side. TreadForce predicts that memory supply will increase by 23% in 2026, but demand will be up by 35%. The supply is just not there to meet the demand. And the demand is coming mostly from AI. So I wanted to confirm this because this article doesn't particularly talk about how AI is the cause of it, although it does hint at it at the end of the article. It does say that as long as the AI boom continues, it looks like memory is going to come at a premium. So price is just going to go up. So I wanted to be clear as to make sure that this is actually the case. Maybe it's something else, because we've seen so many different things cause prices to just boom recently. Tariffs, whatnot. Is it the AI thing? Well, Reuters. Got an article from Reuters here. Talks about it a little more. In fact, their article from December 2nd is titled, "The AI Frenzy is Driving a Memory Chip Supply Crisis." Oh boy. There are multiple different people that worked on this. Just go to Reuters, look up "The AI Frenzy is Driving a Memory Chip Supply Crisis." It's from December 2nd, 2025. 5 people, and I don't want to butcher their names. If there's one name that would give you a hint of who to look for that wrote this article, that was part of it, Anton Bridge, Max A. Cherney. There's a couple in for you. There's 3 other people, but I really don't want to mess up your names, so I'm going to try to make myself not look like an idiot. Hard for me to do, I understand. Che Tae-won, chairman of SK Hinks, parent company of SK Group, said, now this is from this article, this Reuters article, OpenAI in October signed initial deals with Samsung and SK Hynix to supply chips for its Stargate project, which would require up to 900,000 wafers per month by 2029. That's about double current global monthly HBM production. They show a graph here of the 3 companies that dominate the memory production. SK Hynix is the most with 34%, and Samsung is 33%. The only ones that are not there are Micron, which is another US-based company, and CXMT, which I believe was Chinese-based. But Micron's 26%, and CXMT is 5%. Everyone seems to be stopping production of DDR4 RAM. Products such as 32 gigabyte DDR5 memory, which a lot of gamers now have been using. Myself would be included if I was more of a PC gamer. But over in China and Japan and whatnot, it's over 47,000 yen. That's already up from 17,000 yen in mid-October. 128 gigabyte kits had more than doubled to around 180,000 yen. This is nuts. This is crazy. So the prices, because they're stocking up, because companies, AI companies in particular, like OpenAI, are stocking up on this RAM that they need, that they obviously need. It's going to affect everyone. There's already issues with data centers or whatnot people are worried about. But in the gaming realm, you know what this hurts? Making the products we play games on, obviously. I've already said that if Xbox does another price hike, which they would be probably the first one to do, I'm going to rant. But after hearing that this one just might not be avoidable, because it's an AI thing, I might have to change my focus on a rant. Or it not particularly blame Xbox here, because I could because Microsoft has their own AI stuff with Copilot and whatnot. But it's not like Xbox themselves are the big problem here. This is an AI issue. This is a changing world of AI, this fad of AI that we're in. And don't get me wrong, I actually kind of really, really like AI. But my opinion is changing so much on it. It's as fast evolving with AI as AI is developing. Because like a month or two ago, I was all for it. I was 100% for AI. I'm still sub to ChatGPT's plus stuff, I'll admit it. So I am doing the open AI stuff, but hearing about this and how much they're taking away RAM for obvious, like, improving AI reasons, which I understand why they're doing it, but this is not going to help gaming. Do I really want to switch priority in terms of giving and liking and doing more with AI and not have the ability to have something that I love, do something that I've loved all my life and play video games and have those prices increase while I sit over here and AI generate pictures of Lil Jackie and Putty that I could easily get someone to draw for me if I just paid a little bit myself? Am I willing to do that? As a one-person band doing visual stuff, it's easier to do that, and then with my limited to moderate knowledge of like Photoshop and Illustrator or whatnot, to go in and fix things here and there, but I can't draw it from scratch. I don't have the time. Because there has to be time for work and a little time to relax, or else I'd go nuts. I'm not someone that's going to do work 24/7, 365. I need a little time for myself to just sit back and relax. But to do everything that I want to do as one person, I can't. AI helps that. But AI is a problem. It's going to be a bigger problem. The more it develops, the more issues we see are going to come up. And in the video game realm, you know what that means? It means prices are going to go up for components of consoles. So that means prices for the consoles themselves are going to go up to the consumer. We are paying for these components. And I get it. But I don't want prices to go up any more than what they already are. Prices are already too high for these systems. Prices are already too high for PC builds. I joke about paying $2,000-$3,000 for a high-end PC. That's a big reason why I don't want to become a PC player. That's why console gaming is so much simpler for me. Because it's like $500-$600 and I can play a good game and it looks really, really good. But because of this, that's $4,000 or $5,000 going to be. And these systems could easily hit to $1,000. This is the world we live in 2025, going into 2026. Video games are now a premium thing to own. Why do you think so many people are starting to go back and look at the PS2 and the Xbox generation and starting to rekindle those? That's why people go back to older generations of gaming like the SNES, the NES, the Genesis, and want to play them. Because they're cheaper. You don't have to deal with this. And honestly, they're just fun. This is the thing I talked about, how video game companies are just tech companies now. Especially Microsoft. Like I mentioned, Microsoft has always been a tech company, but at least Xbox seemed to be more focused on the video games. Now Xbox is just more entwined than ever with the Microsoft brand of the tech company Microsoft. Everyone just wants to be a tech company. And now it seems like because AI is the fad right now, everyone wants to be an AI company. Everyone wants to have the new AI, hit AI, because OpenAI really opened the door, no pun intended, for this mess. It's impressive to see what artificial intelligence can do. 100%. From the data it gets from other people and other things on the internet. But am I willing to spend $1,000 for a PlayStation 6 if it has more AI components? Because the components in there cost so much because of what it takes to run AI? Just in general? I honestly don't think so. And one of many reasons I thought was going to kill my interest in gaming as a whole, but I thought it would come more from just games getting stagnant and stale and not innovating. No, because indie games and indie developers will always be there, hopefully, if they're not priced out, to make video games that they want to play and they want to make. But what might do it is just the business end. Everything business end from video games now is just souring me more and more so than ever before. I thought the loot box thing was bad. It feels like there's more underlying problems with the stuff we have to deal with now. And it's not like the loot box thing has totally went away. They've hidden it more. They've done something that actually works for them that don't bother people as much with season passes and stuff. And other things to take money away from you and only have you enjoy the game after you've paid thousands of dollars for one game. Like I said at the top of the show with the title, this is modern gaming. And again, I can't believe that modern gaming 10 years later is actually kind of worse in that sense. When it comes to the consoles right now, I think the Switch 2 is fine. It may get a price bump to $500. They're still wanting to keep it around that $450 mark just because it's new and it's the holiday season. But you come to the beginning of the year, I could see it getting a $50 price increase. PS5 Pro, I don't want it to, but they tried to keep it as low as possible for as long as they could. Then they finally increased the prices of everything by $50. They might do that again and increase it by another $50. And that's the thing, too, with the PS5, the Xbox Series S and X. Those prices continue to go up. Your console came out in 2020. This thing isn't getting younger, you know? It'll be 6 years old next November. It's 5 years old now, obviously. The PS5 Pro kind of is a little bit more of an upgrade. It only came out a couple years ago in comparison, but it's still got that PS5, build to it mostly. It can just do ray tracing and 60 FPS at the same time with some AI updates on graphics here and there. Ooh. But that's already $750. Well, get ready because it'll probably be $800 by sometime next year. Xbox is just going the Steam route with their next console, basically making a PC. So that will be a whole thing itself. Where I still think the Steam machine's price is going to be high. I think it's going to be relatively close to that $1,000 mark. And when it comes to a video game console or a particular supposed to be just video game console, I know they're saying it's a PC, but people are going to look at this thing and be like, that's a console, right? The regular person is not going to want to pay $1,000 for a video game console. And if you don't explain it, that it's a PC first and foremost, then will they actually want a little box like this for a PC? Possibility, yeah. Steam Machine might do something crazy. But will they really want it for just a PC? Hardcore gamers will make up their minds of whether they want the Steam Machine or whether they want the new Xbox when it comes out, because it'll be a PC now and it'll be particularly console, whatnot. Hardcore gamers will make up their minds either ways. Either they're going to get it because it's also a PC, or they're just going to build their own PCs. Hell, most of them are just going to build their own PCs anyways. What's unclear to me is if the modern family, the modern person, the casual gamer, is going to want to spend $1,000 on a new system when it comes out. They're going to have to work hard to get them. Because if the games aren't as quality as they should be, even if the hardware is good and it's worth $1,000 or worth the whatever price point you put that's relatively high, you're going to have a lot of trouble selling these things. And that's when the crash begins. Maybe, and like I've been saying, that's what we need. Probably is a crash. I don't want it to happen. But if things are going to go up for one reason or another, whether it's the RAM problem or video games themselves being a problem or consoles just going high just because of greed or tariffs or whatnot, a crash is bound to happen sometime or another. And maybe it's time. It's been time, I think, but maybe it's about that time in actuality, once those prices just reach astronomical levels. Why is video game considered a premium thing? I will never understand that. It doesn't need to be. That's why I will always love my PlayStation 2s and my Nintendo 64s and whatnot. Because they were just fun, relaxing time wasters. And not premium pieces of technology that can also be a PC. Going a little bit more of a lighter subject here, though. Which, lighter, but there's negativity in this as well. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is finally out. Years after the last one. Finally, Metroid Prime 4 has returned. It's fine. Seems fine. Looks fun. The videos that I've seen of it here and there do look fun to play when you're playing. But there are a lot of things that seem wrong with it in that I'm not a big fan of myself. But we'll get into it. So when it comes to different scores or whatnot, listen, there's nothing wrong with 7 out of 10 games. I will say this right now. I'm not saying that's the score what Metroid Prime is getting. But there's nothing wrong with 7 out of 10 games. If you are someone that thinks that games have to be 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, Game of the Year candidates for you to even touch them, you're part of the problem. You're part of the people that are going to pay $1,000 for the Steam machine and be like, oh, that's a reasonable price. I'll buy it. I'm sorry. That's an opinion. I understand. Opinions are like everyone has one. I understand completely. But there's nothing particularly wrong with a 7 out of 10 game. It can have flaws. It can have things you don't like. By a particular group of gamers, they can consider it bad. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with a 7 out of 10 game. Hell, I would argue there's nothing wrong with a 6 out of 10 game because there's still something you can enjoy. And some people have considered 6 out of 10 games their favorite games of all time. Metroid Prime 4 seems to be getting an 8 out of 10. So it's already better than that. IGN gives it an 8 out of 10. Metacritic. Now, these scores are coming from a couple days ago as I'm recording, which is a couple days ago from when this first comes up, when you hopefully are listening to this, but whatever, whenever, When this was first recorded, first uploaded on December 7th, these are from a few days ago. IGN 8 out of 10, Metacritic 80, Game Informer 8.75 out of 10. Hell, they almost gave it a 9. General consensus is that it's around that mark. And what I've heard is what I've talked about is that it seems fun. At its core, it's still Metroid Prime. What it has done is what it's always done, and it's fun, and it's shooty, and it's well done, but some of the new things just don't work. I wanted to bring up an article real quick here that's very interesting that talked about it. So you remember how Vanity brought up the delay for GTA 6? It's in that realm of, I did not expect them to talk about this. NPR, of all people, of all businesses, publications, or whatnot, has a video game review of Metroid Prime 4. And we're just going to look through it here and there. I won't quote everything. You got to read this article. This isn't mine, obviously. This is from NPR. There's no way it's mine. I'm not that good at what I do. Come on now. But the article is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is a technical marvel and a game design nightmare. Wow. This is from December 2nd, 2025 by Vincent Acovino. Apologies for messing up your last name. The first sentence of the article I will read says, Metroid Prime 4 stumbles multiple times before being completely scrapped and started over the decade it took to make. I'll just do the full paragraph. Although it found its way back to Retro Studios, the game behind the original trilogy, the scars of this protracted and troubled development are clear. That's what I'm hearing and seeing about this game, it seems like. It's got really good elements that are fun and that remind you of the Metroid games of old. But that's also sort of the problem. And you can see how and why and where development cycles just went completely off the rails with this game. When you're in the dungeons and in actually shooting enemies, it's fun, but it also feels nostalgic because it feels like it was done 20 years ago. It feels like this was done 20 years ago. Some of the characters don't seem interesting at all. Samus still being mute is fine because that's always been her thing. That's always been the character. She's never talked, really. But at one point, it's like, when is this enough? And I think it's really centered, the big problems with this game are really centered around that desert. Which is unfortunate because you get a bike and it looks cool. To be able to drive a bike around everywhere, possibly defeating enemies with it, racing and whatnot, that sounds like cool. I mean, you get a first-person shooter and sort of like a third-person racer as well. That sounds like an awesome idea. But just from what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've just read, with development issues and the scars of it there, the desert area seems like the biggest scar of them all. And it's sad because it's literally the biggest area of them all. It just looks so barren. There's nothing there. You get a few things to look up. Like, I would, personally, I would akin it to No Man's Sky in the beginning. In the beginning, you could go to a planet on No Man's Sky and land there, and there'd be, some things to mine or whatnot. You can mine crystals and everything. There might be a monument you can go to and discover and scan things or whatnot. And that's about it. But at least with No Man's Sky, even at the very beginning, there were some enemies, as crazy, whacked out, generated as they were. And there was, life. Even on some of the hotter desert planets in No Man's Sky, there was life. In terms of, walking creatures and enemies and whatnot. Doesn't seem like there's any of that in the desert. It seems like you have a few things you can go to and discover. You can scan a lot of stuff there. You can destroy crystals to power up. And that's it. It's literally just a place to go that's in between the places you need to go to actually have fun with the game. So if that's the case, why was this included? Why? Why was that included? If there's nothing else to do, and it's just an exploration to have, say you have exploration in your game, but everything else when you get in the dungeons or whatnot are so A to B to C linear type deal, which I'll talk about because I am getting a lot of this information from one particular video. I'll talk about that in just a second. But just in my opinion too, why was this even included? Because then it's just padding. You're making the game worse by padding it with just this huge open area of nothing when it could have been more condensed if you wanted to do the linear route after all this crap and problems with the game and just work on that. After looking at what I've looked at with this game, I almost feel like if they would have deserted the desert, it would have been a lot better for the game and just everyone's sake. Maybe those scores would have been a 9 or something. But then you also have characters that just seem boring and uninteresting, and the game itself just seems old. Maybe if this was 2005, 2006, instant game of the year. Maybe the desert would be like a huge marvel of design and gaming. Look, did you see this desert and how seamless it seems like to go between one dungeon to another by going into this desert? You could drive over to it? That's crazy. Well, it's 2025. And speaking of things in 2025 that have developed over time is journalism, especially on YouTube, which develop can be multiple things. Let me just say right now. But someone that's actually really good at what he does is the YouTuber SkillUp. And he posted a video about Metroid Prime 4 in his opinion. I, along with a lot of people online, think he is one of the more professional and reasonable people when it comes to his reviews of gaming. But he was getting a lot of heat, apparently, online by it. From what I was looking at on Reddit, looking up stuff to talk about Metroid Prime 4, it seemed like he was getting a lot of heat because he does not recommend it. And after listening to his review and watching some of this stuff, I can kind of understand why he wouldn't recommend it. He basically says the game's fine. The game's fun in parts. But if I had to sum it up in my own words, it's literally what I just said. The game just feels like it's old. And there's not enough improvements from those old nostalgic days to warrant anything really that you do. It's just a fun, old school feeling game that has horrible new parts to try to modernize it that you wonder why they're even in there in the first place. One of his biggest critiques is about the upgrades and stuff you get there, how they don't feel like a utility. They just feel like something that gets you from point A to point B better, if that makes sense. He talks about a lot more than I could ever talk about, let me tell you. So go watch Skill Up's review of Metroid Prime 4. But a lot of people were giving him crap, and it's like, if you like this game, perfectly fine. Like I said, it's fine to enjoy 7 out of 10 games. This is an 8 out of 10. It's even better than that. So if you like it, fine. If I picked this game up, I'm a PlayStation guy with hints of Nintendo here and there. I never played Metroid that much, and I definitely never played Metroid Prime before. If I were to pick this game up, I'd probably have a blast. I'd probably be like, man, this is a great game. What is everyone talking about? But if you have the experience and you love the games and you play this game and you're like, man, I enjoyed it and I really, really thought it was fun, but I can definitely see flaws. It's okay to not be the biggest fan of something you like, too. It's okay to literally have criticisms of things that you love. To see past your love of something, your blinding love towards something, makes you human. Makes you kind of smart. Makes you able to form your own opinion based on what you play and not a blinding appreciation of something. That is absolutely fine. That is right. That is good. He says he likes a good part of it, but the last bit with the desert and at the end how you have to, spoilers sorta if you don't know, gain all those crystals to get to the end place, and how the end place isn't apparently that great, kind of pushed him over the edge. And that's why he doesn't recommend it. That's fine. That's his opinion. If you had fun going around and collecting all those crystals and smashing into them while you're looking in the desert, driving around, going to the different areas and discovering some of the monuments that are there, fine. That's totally okay. But don't get mad at someone for having their own opinion on something and just bringing it out there to the world. That's what YouTube is for. Now I get YouTube is also for arguments and debate, which you can do, but don't really attack or give someone incredible heat just because they have an opinion that doesn't match you. I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir right now. I know I'm just saying things that have been said multiple times online, and that's just how online works. I get it. And I could talk till I'm blue in the face and it doesn't even matter. That's just how the internet works. And it's even worse because there's a lot of anonymity and people can complain and moan as much as they want because they are faceless. I found a quote looking up this stuff about the Skill Up review. Very, very, very good quote from a Redditor, username VaultKing96, talking about gaming journalism in whole. Remember when I said that journalism is developing, and how I emphasize it's not a good thing or a bad thing in particular, but it is developing? The guy says it best. Gaming journalism will never mature when people freak out about a negative review, even if the review is well stated. It's not like he just sat on a game without giving his reasonings. Skill Up meticulously for half an hour, by the way. It's a long video, not one of his longest, but it is a long video. Talked about this game and things he did not like about it. And people are freaking out. Is it because they saw the title "Do Not Recommend" and because they're Nintendo fans, or Metroid fans in particular, they're just up in arms, don't even give it a chance? Some people, that might actually be the case. Listen to the video. Listen to what he says. Watch the video. And don't let your blind love for something skew yourself from doing a little research about it. And I'm definitely, in my opinion, having a pot and kettle black moment here. So don't get me wrong. We all make that mistake. I have made it multiple times. I'll make it again. Practice what you preach there, Keith. I understand. But just like I mentioned on the podcast this past week, don't yuck people's yums. That's a more recent phrase that I've been hearing. Don't hate that people don't like something just because you like it. And don't hate stuff that they don't like because... Don't hate stuff that other people like. But also don't hate things that people don't like. It's okay to have differing opinions. And this could be a whole, just like with the AI thing, stuff like that in particular can go so farther than just video games. It's not even a discussion that really should be had in total on this show. But in terms of this video game, in terms of any opinions, in terms of how the game actually is, what it seems like, blah blah blah. Here's the main point of this. Play it. If you like it, play it again. Play it. If you don't like it, don't play it. If you don't play it, at least look it up. Make your opinion on it based on what you've seen. But don't get mad at people if they don't like it or if they like it. I feel like I shouldn't say this. I feel like people online shouldn't say this. This should be obvious. But for some people, it's not obvious. Now, if you're kids, it's understandable. You're still growing up. You'll learn eventually. But like, if you're an adult and you're acting like this, come on. Don't do that. Use your brain. Everyone has one. Use your brain. Especially if you're like over 25 and is fully developed. If you're still acting like that, come on. One more thing about this, and we'll move on. Another Young Yeah video I have to talk about really, really, really quick. Because I saw it right before I was about ready to record, and I'm like, I have to put this into the Metroid Prime 4 thing. So apparently, they have put a music background, or background music behind an amiibo? What? You remember how I said the desert was so bland or whatnot? To make things worse, by itself, there's no music while you're driving. While you're driving the bike, which I think is called Viola, which is a cool name, by the way. It's just, not only is the area bland and kind of nothing, with just a few things here and there, it's quiet. It's relatively quiet. Why is there no background music? Well, apparently there is, but it's hidden behind a $30 amiibo. Okay, here's what you should get mad at. Instead of getting mad at one another's opinions, get mad at Nintendo trying to price you for music. Background music to boot. That would make the desert probably marginally better. Not much. It's still going to be bland and boring area to be in, but at least you'll have music in the background to make it not as terrible. But if you want music right now, you just have to buy the new $30 amiibo, Samus amiibo with the bike, I believe. Scan it in your Switch, and boom, you have background music. You have a radio. Are you kidding me? That's insane. Now, apparently, though, it's in the game. You can buy it. Or, you can buy it. But you can get it without paying $30 for the amiibo. So I want to make that perfectly clear. You can access it without paying $30. So you're like, all right, then what's the problem? Then there's no complaint here. The problem is that in order to unlock it, you have to get 100%, apparently, this is just from the Young Yeah video, what he said, you have to get 100% of the logbook scanned, or have 100% of the logbook scans in there. You have to fully complete the scan book. How long does that take? Why are you putting a prerequisite of 100% doing something like scanning things as a way to unlock background music? Are you high? And it's not like you're saying either that, hey, you can unlock it if you have the $30 amiibo. What's other than greed? I don't even understand like how this even works in terms of like marketing it. Because like, how would you market it if you know it's in the game already, if you scan stuff? Because it doesn't seem like a smart idea if you come out right and say, hey, if you get this $30 amiibo, you can automatically unlock the radio without doing all this stuff. That's a bad idea because it's $30. I just paid $70 for this new game. Are you kidding me? I'm not spending $100 on a game and a little piece of plastic just to be able to listen to music while I'm driving a stupid motorcycle in a desert. See, this is crap that people need to get mad at. Because why in the blue hell is this like this? I hope enough people get mad at it to where they at least go in and update it to where it's not as much for the logbook. Do something better with this. Oh my God. That's insane. $30 amiibo. Which is already nuts by themselves how much they've increased in price. But a $30 amiibo, you can get background music in the desert area. Have fun. Oh boy. One more thing before I close out the show. I didn't do this last month. I believe I didn't do it last month. I think I forgot, but I want to do it here this month because I also wanted to mention that the original PlayStation turned 31 this past week. Last year was a huge 30th celebration, so 31 is kind of back to one of those numbers that it just doesn't matter. It doesn't get older. But because it turned 31, I just remembered that I haven't for a little bit done any updates for the monthly games for PlayStation Plus Essential subs. Again, I'm a PlayStation guy. I mentioned it earlier. I've mentioned it multiple times already in the podcast. So if you're wanting to get an idea of where some of my opinions and stuff come from, you're probably already a step down. It's like, oh, you're a Sony PlayStation fanboy? Get away from me. I understand. Don't get me wrong. I get it. Something I've loved all my life. I just love it. They're stupid. And I've pointed out how stupid Sony can be. But I still love the PlayStation brand. I still love playing on PlayStation systems. I don't know. It's just a thing. It's a nostalgia thing at this point. I'm as much at fault as people that are probably gushing over Metroid Prime 4 and getting mad at Skill Up for no reason. I'm with you. We're all hypocrites. I understand. So I wanted to at least point out the month's games for December for PlayStation Plus Essential subs. If you do not know how PlayStation Plus works, it's sort of now like Game Pass. Not as, I wouldn't say it's as diverse and as good in terms of selection as Game Pass. But price-wise, it's right now it's better. There's 3 different tiers. First tier is just the normal like $9.99 a month tier to get you to play online or whatnot. Second tier is the catalog, which you can get a bunch of PS4 and PS5 games cataloged. It's like over 200, maybe 300 games now at this point. Play for free. They got a decent selection on there. And premium is the big old priced one that also gets you cloud, being able to play on the cloud, which is necessary if you own a PlayStation Portal. And you can play cloud gaming on there, but you can also remote play, so you don't need the Portal for that. You don't need premium for that. But it also gives you access to game trials, as well as the classic catalog that has a bunch of PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 games that have been brought up to the PS5. And I think it's available. Some are available on PS4 now. I'm not sure, but they're definitely on PS5. Something else that I skipped to mention for the Essentials that they've done ever since PlayStation Plus was what it was beforehand, when it was just a one payment type thing, not a 3-tier system, was they give you certain games a month that you can just have in your library for free. And as long as you pay the $9.99 a month, you can accumulate your library, and they will not go away from your library. So I think Essential, if you want a decent library that doesn't go away but don't want the catalog, because the catalog will go away. That is like Game Pass. Those games get cycled through, and eventually they will get away. They will get rid of them. Essentials, these games of the month, will still stay in your library no matter how long you have PlayStation Plus. As long as you keep it, they will be there. So that's cool. And I wanted to mention this month in particular because there are actually a few more games than usual, and they released them a little earlier this month. Usually they'll release them at the beginning of the month or within the first week. Usually it's that first Tuesday. But because it's Christmas time, they try to get a little bit more, fan service or whatnot. Hey, we're going to give you these a week early, which by itself I think that would have been fine. This month's games, though, are kind of on a lower tier in comparison to, a couple months ago or so, they had Alan Wake 2. There is no Alan Wake 2 in this selection of games. I'm just saying. But to make up for that, they are actually giving you 2 extra games as well. So you're getting 5 free games if you are a PlayStation Plus Essentials sub. And I want to mention them real quick, leading with Lego Horizon Adventures, which is actually a game I was going to end up buying eventually, just because, PlayStation fan. I also do like Horizon. I think it's a fun-to-play game, even if the story is here or there, hit and miss for me. But that what leads it. Killing Floor 3, which years ago they had Killing Floor 2 as a free game, so it's cool that they made the third one free. So of the trilogy right now, 2 of the 3 games you own, just for being a PlayStation Plus Essential member. The Outlast Trials, again, I know that they had Outlast as a free game of the month, either that or Outlast 2. So it's just another one in the series you can play as long as you've had PS Plus for a while. Sin Duality Echo of Ada, I don't know what that is. And neither do I know what Neon White is. So the other 3 are the quote-unquote bigger games. They have the notoriety and stuff. But in total, these aren't huge games. So it is nice that they gave 2 more to kind of give you a little more of a feeling that you're getting some bang for your buck here. Would I have put a bigger game on there other than Lego Horizon Adventures? Yeah, obviously, but it's cool that they allowed it to come out a week earlier. It's cool that they gave us a couple more games to kind of make up for a little bit lackluster of a 3 games because they only usually do 3. A little bit of a lackluster selection of games. But I won't complain about free games, I'm not going to complain about being able to have the option to one day play Sin Duality Echo of Ada just because it was given to me for free. That's just not something I want to battle. That's not a battle for me to fight because I enjoy having free games, So I think that's it for me as of right now anyways. Which, by the way, the last games of the month I know I didn't mention because actually I believe I did. Maybe I'm doing well with this, better than I thought, because it was Stray, EA Sports, WRC, and I did because I mentioned tabs. You know what? I'm doing pretty well. But they're already gone. These games are already there. They're coming in a week early. So get you these games, put them in your library, have fun with that. I'm just an idiot that forgets what he does half the time. Gotta love ADHD. So I'm going to start wrapping up here. A contentious week in terms of things that can be talked about and just the space of modern gaming as it is. And even with the PlayStation Plus essential stuff, that's subscription-based crap, which is not a thing years ago, but it's definitely a thing now. I mean, it was a thing during the 360 era, thanks Xbox, but yeah, it wasn't the PS3, I don't know. I guess if we want to enjoy video games, we just have to live with it because no one else is listening to us. No one else is listening. Oh well. New STPP is out on Tuesday. We got a big week of recording. We're going to kind of behind the scenes thing here. We're going to actually try to record all the episodes for the next month this week. Just to alleviate some of the stuff, some stress going into Christmas and New Year. Let's go ahead and try to hit all of them now as best as we can. So that's the plan for this coming week. But this week in particular will be more up to date. The other weeks, though, we're going to have a little bit more fun with. I'll just say that. Speaking of this coming weeks into next week's episode of OMO will be part 2 of the Game Awards special because the Game Awards are this Thursday. I wanted to bring this up really quick. I didn't bring it up in the main part of the show because the Game Awards are all we're going to talk about next week. And honestly, after this episode, thank God. It's all we're going to talk about is the Game Awards next week. Last one from a couple weeks ago, we went over the nominees, and now we will go over what happened at this year's Game Awards on Thursday. I look forward to next week's episode for more reasons than one. I hope you join me there. Because of this past week's STPP episode, I just wanted to go ahead and not promote anything that might cost you money or anything at this time on any of the shows. I didn't do it last week on OMO because I wanted the show to air. I wanted the episode of STPP to air. That was our special mental health awareness, suicide prevention episode. So with that being said, I'm going to do the same thing here this week. I'm not going to promote anything. I just want to say thank you so much for listening to this. Thank you for always being there, no matter who you are. If you're listening, just thank you so much. I appreciate, even if you don't agree with me, which is completely fine, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, as they'd say in the Smash Mouth song. I am just a guy. I am just a guy that has my own taste. I just like to talk about gaming, even if I'm an idiot. And I can easily be talked into seeing something else another way. And I'm very much open to figuring things out as they go. I just state what I feel and that feel as I see. So that's what you get with OMO. That's what you get because I'm on my own. I'm on my own here. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoy at least doing it. Even though it's early and I still have to work today, I very much hope you hope that this day is good, and I hope that your day is good, no matter when you're listening to this. And things will be back to normal in terms of extra stuff this coming Tuesday when the next episode of STPP comes out. So for this week, enjoy your week. Enjoy life. Do whatever you can to get out. Do things. Love somebody. I know that's a local show thing. Sorry. But seriously, just check on people. Be there for them. You got this, guys. You got this. I'm Keith. This has been OMO. Seriously, I love your faces. Each and every one of you. And I'll talk to you next week. I'll see you next week as well. Later, guys. And gals. Oh, no, I said guys again. Goodbye, everybody.